Hey, I'm Movie Cat, aka Roller Coaster Writer, and I'm going to give you a solo review of this movie that I saw. Now, backstory: the Blair Witch Project. Even though I was past of age to be able to see it, I wasn't a huge horror buff fan. I was watching Disney Channel and Cartoon Network at the time that the movie came out. I finally later saw it, and it was one of those movies where it's like, oh my god, it's so terrifying, you have to see it, it's so awesome, you have to see it, and it's just, whatever. Um, so yeah, if you like Blair Witch, fine, whatever. For me, I agree with Chris Rock about how someone pocketed some of that money because nothing really happened. Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. Uh, I. f- Hmm. It was, if nothing else, it was a little more unique. And I think its biggest problem was that it was following the questionable, in my opinion, success of the first Blair Witch. So, yeah, that's my review of that movie. And now we've got this new one called Blair Witch. I guess this is a remake or something. It should honestly be called Blair Witch 3 or Blair Witch or The Revenge of Blair Witch or something like that. Uh, if you've seen the first movie, just update it and you pretty much have the same, and you pretty much have this movie. About the only thing that's different is maybe the cameras are different. There's more cameras, there's more earpiece cameras, and there's a drone. That's about it. There's really almost no difference. And overall, it just seems like it felt like a, I never thought I would say this, but it feels like a Blumhouse light movie. It didn't really seem to have much of a point or a purpose. And the worst part, in my opinion, is that it ignores so many facts and logic and things that, in my opinion, me as a cynical kind of viewer when it comes to horror films, I was asking so many things like I guess this is a mild spoiler, but there's one of the girls. I don't know her name. I'll call her Discount Cecily Strong from SNL because that's, in my opinion, who she looked like. There are scenes where she's whittling. Okay, so she clearly has a knife, and then it's revealed that they have no idea where they're going. Now, someone like me, I would think like, wouldn't you mark the trees? Wouldn't you mark the trees how you got somewhere? That way you'd be able to say like, okay, I was here, so now I'll go back. Also, they film just shy of everything. They film them walking, they film them crossing a river. They film one of the guy films himself peeing. I'm not making that up. Um there's a lot of people in this movie. There's like two white guys, two white women, a black guy, and a black girl. Take a guess who dies first. Just take a random guess. Um, the one of the characters, the black woman, um, you get the feeling that she was not supposed to go on this trip because she's the first one to get injured. And then she continues to get injured, and then at this point, and then probably by the end of the movie, which, spoiler alert, nothing is really explained or shown, she's most likely dead. Or she's decaying. Uh, it shows them walking towards the campsite, and then bam, there's a bunch of Blair Witch crosses or triangles or humans, I don't, or things, yeah. So the Blair Witch does exist in this universe. So I don't know if this is like a movie in movie or something. By the way, there's no reference to Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, which makes this series kind of confusing. And uh Another thing is that, yeah, there is a drone, but it's not really used effective. It's not really used. There's like I said, no questions. No question. There's a ton of questions. None are answered. Um, and something else I want to say: the Blair Witch. I'm assuming the Blair Witch is a woman. The Blair Witch seems like a very uncreative person. Because in 3 movies, all the Blair Witch can do is just make statues out of trees and string, make trees fall down, and make you see stuff. That's it. That's the gist of it. Oh, and apparently the Blair Witch can also control weather and control time because, as it says later in the movie, there's been 5 days with no daylight, which seems rather interesting. And one of the girls, she has pink hair. She looks to me like like in the face a little bit like Jennifer Lawrence. And when she returns, like, she looks like she is possessed and on the verge of like falling down and dying. Um, there were there were two pretty scary things. One of them I can't remember, and I just saw the movie, so that should tell you how scary it was. And there was one scene where I had to turn away because it got a little squeamish, and uh I'll post in the credits what happened. So if you are squeamish, or if you don't want spoilers, I'll put it at the end, or I'll put it as like a post credit thing. Oh, by the way, the movie is 89 minutes, but it's really only about 82 minutes because there's like 7 minutes of credits. Um I'm running out of things to say. Um One of the guys, uh he me and JJ have this theory that he was possessed. Uh and yeah, it's I don't even know how to extend this review. Uh the movie is just the Blair Witch Project. In 2016, there's really no difference. They talk about how they can't get cell reception, and it makes you wonder why they would go anywhere where they can't get cell reception. It makes you wonder, like, why aren't you going with like a survival person, someone who knows how to like rough it, so that way you won't get lost or you won't go crazy. How about put a string so that way you can go back to your car? How about look at the video footage so you can see how you walked, so you can walk back to the car? um and here's the other thing that is really dumb. The area that they go hiking in is okay, but the area that they decide to set up camp, there's a sign that says, do not sleep overnight, or do not camp, or restricted area. I'm sorry, but there's probably a reason for that. There's probably a reason why it's a restricted area. So, yeah. And then you find out one of the guys who says he's like been to this area or is an expert on the area, he's really just an expert on researching it or something. So as a result, he gets them lost. And uh yeah, that's about all I can say. I'm struggling to try to think of anything really redeeming about the movie, um except for the horror thing, but you can find stuff similar to it on YouTube. Would I recommend this movie? No. It's really slow. It's kind of boring. There's not a lot of action, and the Blair Witch doesn't come until about the first 25-30 minutes. And we don't spend enough time at the beginning to even really strongly care about the characters. And then there's some revelation with two of the characters where it's like, well, why should I care about you? You did this to yourself. And all of them just do so many dumb things that you lose connection as a viewer. At least I did, and JJ as well. Um, that's all I have to say. Join me next time when I take a look at a movie, my friends. Until next time, I'm Movie Cat, aka Roller Coaster Rider. See ya. Join me next time when I expand my field. Until next time, my name is Movie Cat, aka Roller Coaster Rider, and goodbye. The thing that was really creepy where I had to turn away was that when you looked at the African American lady's foot, how it was cut, uh it was shown to the camera, and there was something moving around in that. Kind of like how maybe how the Mummy movies, or maybe it wasn't the Mummy, maybe it was something else, about how that kind of moved around in that guy's skin. That made me creep out. And there's another one, but I can't remember it, so sleep tight.